Okay, good. All right, thank you for that. Everybody, we're here tonight. It's October 21st, a Monday, the second meeting of October for the Poolesville Town Commissioners. Behind the desk are, of course, Town Manager Wade Yost, Assistant Town Manager Niles Anderegg, our commissioners as they stand as today, Ed Reed, Sarah Paxima, myself, Martin Radigan, Jeff Eck. Jeff, if you don't mind, if you could lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, sir. All right, guys, thanks for that, everybody. Commissioners' announcements and committee reports. Jeff, if you don't mind kicking it off for us.
Well, so I have some announcements that I borrowed from the Poolesville seniors. And there's going to, well, it's tonight, actually, so the hip-hop dance class is tonight at 6:30. I guess we're missing that. There's also a book club. Well, we're missing that as well. On October 25th, there's a line dancing with Ashley Kelch. And you can register at the Poolesville seniors.org website. Also, on the 29th of October is a walk at the Buddhist temple, and also a social that's at 10 a.m. Again, register on the Poolesville seniors website. Also, there's a Chair 1 fitness session on November the 7th at 7 p.m. And I've attended that several times, and it's quite fun. It's very energetic. The music is definitely my era, so I enjoyed it very much. And also on November the 11th, of course, that's Veterans Day. And I'm sure the Poolesville Area Chamber of Commerce will be having something out here over in Wayland Commons. Also, of course, I want to remind everybody to vote on November the 5th. And the polls for the national election will be at the elementary school. Is that correct, I think?
Yes.
And then the election for the town commissioners will be here at the town hall. Thanks, Jim. You want me to continue with my...
Yes, sir. Keep it rolling.
So this is a report from the Parks Board meeting on October the 9th. And there were two main topics, the relocation of the dog park, of course, and also an update on the sidewalk priority list. And I really want to compliment Niles on his professionalism at the Parks Board meeting. Thank you, Niles. The agenda item, of course, was the relocation of the dog park. There were more people in attendance at that meeting than I can remember at any Parks Board meeting in 4 years. So, and most of them signed up to speak. And you just never really know what they're going to say. So, however, Niles had prepared a presentation that was absolutely perfect, because it not only had the possibilities of where the dog park could be relocated, but also like an aerial view and a diagram of approximately where it would be placed. And that was excellent, because many of the persons who came up to speak said the presentation had already answered their questions. And so that was really, really good. I can't thank Niles enough. There were a couple of times when a certain person interrupted Niles, and he was very professional, and and just said, "Wait for the end of the presentation, and we'll be happy to answer your questions." Some of the feedback included establish a new dog park before decommissioning the existing dog park. A larger dog park would be appreciated. A shaded area is also appreciated. Access to water for the dogs is needed. Adequate parking is required. And also there was one person mentioned about the possibility of two dog parks, one in one location and another one in another location. Also to make sure that there is separation for the big dogs and the little dogs. The overall preference, and I believe I read the audience well, is that they were preferring Stevens Park along the pond there.
Yeah. And we're still looking in more of the details for the next meeting, so we'll come back with some more details.
As I already mentioned, the possibility of two dog parks was noted. So that's it for the dog park. I'll talk a bit about the sidewalk priority list. The areas where sidewalks needed to be added are priority number 1, and there's a spreadsheet with all the locations. The West Willard sidewalks are already in progress, and these are used by the high school students walking to and from school. Flashing lights have been installed on West Willard for the safety of the students crossing West Willard to get to and from the high school. And Niles added a color code to indicate what sidewalks are corrections or fixes are already in progress. Preston reported that the parks around Poolesville are frequently used. This is a good thing. They are starting to get into the fall projects. The scarecrows look great. He noted this is truly a community event. Preston noted that the park staff takes pride in the quality of the parks. If anyone sees anything in the parks or around town that needs attention, please text Preston and he will address the issue. Preston hired a new permanent person for his team. A request was received to add a flashing crosswalk light. And we've talked about this, several times already. The request was received to add a flashing crosswalk light at the school bus stop on Elgin at Heller Avenue. And I know that's part of the street is not owned by the town, so it's kind of a non-starter.
And there's not even a light, like a street light.
Yeah.
So when I walk there at night, it's pitch black.
yeah.
There's no reflector
And when it comes-
signs, there's no lights, nothing.
And in the winter, when the kids get on and off the bus, it's dark. So that's my report.
Okay, very good. And that last recommendation, that was under consideration or put in someone's hands that's
Well,
going
we
to try and
talked
do
about that
something?
several times, and it was just mentioned that that's a state road, and it's outside, it's not owned by the town.
Like essentially, what are our options?
Right, and that's where we've previously reached out to the state about these issues. And in the letter that we received from them on the comp plan, which had all of these items in it, they said to reach out again. So Wade and I were actually talking about this today, to have a follow-up conversation with the District 3 engineer and see if there's some wiggle room in sort of moving forward on some of these things.
Well, we actually, looking at the light issue, because I hadn't,
Yeah.
we talked about that before, we might be able to get a
Street
light
light on
added
the
there.
least.
Yes, a Cobra
Yeah.
overhead. Yep.
Yeah, because there's power line poles behind it.
And Heller Avenue that's owned by the town.
Yeah.
So right where Heller,
maybe on the corner, yeah.
yeah, maybe right in the corner, we could
Yeah,
do something like that, rather than technically on the State Street.
yeah, we put a request in for that, so.
Oh, swell, thank you.
Owned by the county? Did you say it? Haller Avenue?
Oh, no, Holler's ours, but the
Yes.
intersection with the state is owned by the state.
Got it. Okay, good. Thought so. Fine and dandy. Very good. I'm glad to see some action on it. That sounds good. Thank you, Jeff. Martin?
So the planning commission met last week. I was not present. I was at a concert ruining my ears. But I have the notes here from it. There was a discussion of the recommendation of the Harts PIA, which we're going to talk about tonight. There was the applicant request amendment for the PIA for the Willard project, which we're also going to talk about. And there's a follow-up discussion on the cultural arts district. And we're slowly kind of moving through that to try to change the zoning and create like a cultural arts district. So that's kind of moving along. When do you think that portion of the zoning would be, have a goal, like maybe a couple more months, 3 months?
Maybe, and we've had a difficult time getting through it because we had so many people that were missing all summer. There
Yeah.
were 2 people missing every
Yeah.
meeting, so.
Yeah.
We're not really even on a good takeoff yet, I don't believe, so.
But we have a lot of good feedback. I mean, that was what the last meeting really gave us, was a lot of good feedback. So we're going to try to build through the technical elements now a little bit more to try to present that in a way that gets us closer to an ending point here.
And we have some, if somebody comes in and wants to do something that is completely against what, the spirit of what we're doing here, we have a leg to stand on because we're in the process of changing it, isn't that right?
Yes, you cannot approve, yes, this is in the code. If something's in a review for a zoning issue, then absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, good deal. Yep, that's all I've got.
Okay, very good. Thank you for that, Martin. Appreciate it. Going to miss those reports. Sure you won't consider staying on the planning commission when this? All right, that's not a no.
We tried that today earlier.
You guys already did? Yeah. I ask every meeting, so. Anyway, thanks, Martin. Appreciate it, and looking forward to hearing more reports from you in the future. All right, very good, thanks. Whichever one of you two want to go first with fair access and
We'll just go
sustainable
right down the
Poolesville?
line.
Yeah.
Yes,
I'll
go
I'll
ahead.
just do fair access.
Yep.
Okay, Fair Access met last Thursday as a follow-up to Poolesville Day Breakfast. Link composed letters to Lieutenant Governor Aruna, our county executive, Mark Elrich, and our representative on the county, Marilyn Balcom. And those were circulated amongst all the commissioners, so you should have had a chance to take a look at those. It included some follow-ups and some ideas for improvement. Link also met with Robin Riley of the Parks and Recs Board from the county on the pool bubble. She is receptive, but we have to develop a set of plans and a good cost estimate, so that's kind of ongoing. You guys have been working on that. We had the pool bubble field trip report last time. And I'm assuming, I actually don't know who's doing the cost estimates of that. Is that something?
I can update after this, or
Okay.
we can have it in a town manager report.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Let's see, Link met with, I think this is more about the pool, so I'm going to let you talk about that at the town manager's report. Maryland has asked for a meeting on transportation issues in our area, and we have submitted concepts to write on to improve bus service, especially for those needing medical services, primarily our seniors. This is kind of an ongoing project. I think we've been working on this for several years. Right on. Working on a listening session with Mark Elrich, probably mid-November. And Rocktoberfest coming up. We have commitments from Will Jawando, Andrew Friedson, and April Delaney so far. So we'll have some big names at our event, and of course, we'll be all there just to enjoy and support.
Let the schmoozing begin.
I've got to come up with a better word.
Oh, there's something wrong with schmoozing? You can tell me after the fact.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. We can work on that.
Yeah, let's work on a better word.
Anything else besides that
No.
from you?
No.
Okay.
If there's anything
Ed?
you want to add to
I'll just add on one other
Yeah.
piece, is that at the meeting, we talked about some other areas for advocacy. One of the issues that keeps coming up is with the high school in the field. And so I'm going to work with the Booster Club. Matter of fact, Alan Hobbs, who's here, we're going to work together to look at some of those issues that have been coming up about that football field, so then we can all talk in one voice of what would be the key points to advocate for. And so that's just in the developmental stage, but we'll all get together sometime soon, and then we'll keep the commissioners abreast about what happens. So if I'm still here after the next election, I'll continue with that.
Okay, good. Anything else? Nothing
And
on
then-
Sustainable Poolsville?
Well, Sustainable Pools, well, no new updates, as you all know, that we are getting an award at the fall MML conference. And so Don, the chairman, will be there to receive
Good.
that award.
Is it
Great.
the next,
It's like November 7th or something.
I can't say 100% it is. Did they tell you it's a silver?
They did not
They
tell
did
us yet.
not.
I think they
We just-
want to
It'll
leave
be a
it for the
surprise.
surprise that.
We
So-
applied for the silver. Well, I
Yeah.
think we met the criteria for the silver, but we haven't, we'll be awarded whatever the award will be.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they did tell us to bring the plaque, and so that award is good for 3 years.
oh, cool.
Yep. All right, that's it.
Anything else?
Nope.
Mine's pretty simple. You guys have kind of covered most of it. Wade and Niles will cover where we're headed, what we've done about the bubble. But in general, we had a meeting down county again on Friday with both Rob and Riley and what's her name again? Shauna from Montgomery County Rec. And then we met today with the engineers and had more of a roundtable discussion about the viability of the bubble and what it will take. The guys will take it from there. As you guys know, all of us, for the most part, Sarah, you just missed it, and that's okay, with the having our current congressman and potentially our future congressperson with us today touring Poolesville. We set them up with 6 businesses. They actually made it to 5. It was definitely a photo op situation with the big check being presented here. I want to thank everybody that showed up for that. That was actually a lot of fun. I don't know if I'm going to be able to bust chops like I did on Congressman Trone today with our next one, but that's always a good part of this is they like doing that, and we did it today. All of us did. So it was a good time, and the business owners were very, very happy to be vested and meet with them and have good meetings. And again, too, it was a good opportunity for us to bring in our business community into what we're doing at Town Hall. So the only person they didn't visit in time was Peter Eag. And I told Peter it's just going to have to be next time, buddy. So we just ran out of time. So, yeah.
Understandable, too.
Yeah. I can't say he was happy about it, but we will definitely get him in there. So there's no question about that. Anyway, plenty of other things going on. You guys covered most of the bases. Appreciate it. Good coverage from everybody. I will say that, again, there's a possibility that some of you guys aren't going to be here at the next meeting. So you will be, but maybe only for a couple minutes. So I just want to say up front that I've totally enjoyed serving with everybody. And Martin, I'll have special things to say about you when we get to that next meeting.
Good or bad?
You have to wait and see, sir. I need to make sure you show
A
up.
little bit of both.
It'll be a roast.
Yeah.
Well, we know where he lives.
I can roast with the best of them. So with staff, team, not Martin on this one, we'll have a conference before so we can make sure we have a good presentation ahead of time and that he doesn't know what it is so he can't prepare. Anyway, so again, with everybody, it's been great. And I'll say that one more time on the next meeting too. Public comment time. Jerry, you're here on the list. Is there something in particular you want to talk about or do you want to, you're ready to go now? Okay, thank you.
Just pull something out?
You should be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ray, if you're here to say nice things about me, you should wait till the next meeting.
You better wait till next week. Good evening, Jerry Klobakowski, 17300 Fletchall Road, and also a member of Poolesville Daniel Jeffers American Legion Post 247, which will be holding a Veterans Day ceremony, not the Chamber of Commerce,
Oh, thank you.
at Wayland Commons at 11 a.m. on 11 November. That's number one. Number two, I understand the house, the White House on Fisher Avenue that's on Willard property will be torn down to make way for the property's development. I'd recommend that as much of it that can be salvaged be saved and donated to the Restore Store up in Frederick, Maryland, I believe it's on E Street. I mean, the windows, doors, cabinets, sinks, whatever, vanities, you can take them up there and they can be reused. Not to say they may not want to accept some stuff, but I took those 8-foot-high bi-metal doors, or metal bifold doors that were in all our closets and took them up there, and they took them. So they're open to a lot of different things. On the agenda, you have the Montgomery County Hazard Mitigation Plan. And I assume we wrote the paragraphs pertaining to Poolesville. And I just have one question on that is, it says in there in one of the paragraphs that we want to be energy independent by 2030. Now, is that an aspiration or is that a hard fact?
It's an aspiration. It was a
Okay.
resolution that was passed by this body in
It's sort of, the
21, I
way
think
it
you were
was
still
written,
commissioner
it sort of
then.
said, I wasn't sure. But the other thing is there is a table in there that unless you have a screen that's about, 50 feet wide, you can't read all the risk mitigation factors that are on the right, and then go over to the column where Poolesville's listed, and go down and find out which ones we've done or whatever. And I would just like to see something, if there was just a table just pertaining to Poolesville containing those items that are listed in that thing, because it's like 4 pages long.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
So.
That's how the county presented it, and that's how it was presented. I was engaged in some of those meetings.
I assume, but.
And that's how they presented it to us.
Right.
So we had to go through and find everything and fact check it that way. I can see what we can put together if we want.
Find out, where, get rid of the ones in the center or whatever, and just,
Yeah, it's almost unreadable.
Yeah, it's
No,
an
it's-
unfortunate
I don't know,
thing about how they did that, but
maybe their brother or someone in the family is an optometrist and they're trying to get out business. But anyways, that's it, ladies and gents.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Appreciate the commentary. Okay, you guys, we have the minutes from October 7th, 2024. I believe we were all here for that meeting, so someone needs to make a motion.
I make a motion, we approve the minutes from the October 7th meeting.
I'll second his motion.
Motion by Martin, second by Ed. Anybody have any questions on the minutes? None? All in favor of approving the minutes of October 7th, 2024, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Nope. Okay, the minutes have been passed 5-0. New business, healthcare community stamp. Sir.
Yes, if I may. So this is a picture of the healthcare community stamp. Says healthcare with little icons in there. You can pass that around if you like.
Sure.
I attended an event at the Hubert Humphrey Building in Washington, D.C. on October the 3rd. The United States Postal Service announced the release of the new stamp recognizing the healthcare community. The release included a video celebrating the healthcare community, and that is the stamp. Myself and Chief Graham were selected to participate in the video announcing the new stamp. And I'd like to just, along with several other people who you will probably recognize.
Yeah, I saw.
Great. And are we ready to cue that up?
Yep, I'm ready to go.
You good to go, Jeff? Anything else for an intro
All set.
for it?
Yep.
Got it.
Postal Service is proud to present our new stamp paying tribute to the healthcare community, whose members dedicate their lives to our health, safety, and well-being, sometimes at great personal risk. We owe them an enormous debt of gratitude for their service to the nation. Healthcare employs millions of people, making it one of the largest and fastest growing sectors in our economy. They are doctors, dentists, nurses, orderlies, pharmacists, home health aides, and emergency medical workers, to name just a few. And there are countless others we never meet, the men and women who perform critical functions behind the scenes.
We take care of people when they are most vulnerable. We take care of kids when they are most vulnerable. Nobody comes to the hospital because they are feeling well. So what we do is make you better. And who doesn't want to do that as their 9 to 5?
I just always knew. It was never a question. From the time I was little, I told my parents I was going to be a nurse.
Pretty early on, I knew I wanted to be a doctor because I love taking care of children, so I knew I wanted to do pediatrics. And I love working with the families to sort of make sure that their whole life is as best as that can be.
I think there is a picture that I drew, apparently, that I have framed somewhere in my house, that when I was 6, I drew of a nurse and said I want to be a nurse.
Both my grandmother and my mother were both in the medical field, always taking care of people. It's hard work, and hard work is good work.
While it wasn't the path I saw for myself, I really figured out how to blend what I thought my dream was with what I really believe in integrally as healthcare for all people.
Everyone goes into this profession, I honestly believe, for a purpose, and that is to help a patient.
There is no greater joy than seeing a kid who I know is here because of work that I did with that kid's parents to make sure that they were able to have children.
I honestly think that healthcare workers are one of the most selfless, giving, caring group of people you could ever want to meet.
Well, healthcare workers across the board, whether it be pre-hospital, EMS providers, firefighters, or whether it be hospitals in the clinical or acute care setting, over the last 5 or 6 years, their role has been redefined with the pandemic, with the increasing behavioral health and drug epidemics and things. They're doing things that people in healthcare 20 years ago never would have imagined.
COVID brought some new challenges, things shut down pretty quickly, but that didn't mean people didn't need care.
Anyone that's in healthcare, particularly after COVID, there was so much fear. And even while we were working, we didn't know. My husband and I were walking around with masks around our children for months. And so they were frightened. And it's not just doctors and nurses, it's people at the front desk had to deal with folks that were coming and crying and asking for vaccines. Your patients become your family, you're their family. They are in their worst possible moment when you're taking care of them, and they're very vulnerable, and they're allowing you into their life to take care of them, and it's a very important thing to be celebrated.
So the people that are sticking it out and giving of themselves and being genuinely kind and caring and compassionate deserve every honor that you can possibly give them.
We are pleased to present the Thank You Healthcare Community Stamp.
Really? That was Adam's baby? That's neat. I didn't know that. That was Adam Soroka's baby. Wow. Okay, that's cool.
encourage you to add the stamp to your collection and use it to mail your letters and packages. Let it remind us all what selfless service looks like and how grateful we are for the women and men in the healthcare community. The stamp is available now at USPS.com and at post offices nationwide.
That's cool. The design is I'm warming up to it.
Thanks, Nels.
Yep.
It's a cool design. I'm getting there. All right, that was awesome. Jeff, thanks for bringing that to it. That's so cool, the local connections on that as
I
well.
think you missed it. It actually had Adam Stroka in there, like holding his baby.
I didn't see that. Okay, gotcha.
And
That's neat.
the woman who was the nurse standing right next to him, she's from Poolesville.
Oh,
Wow.
okay.
Was that like a real video? Was that Adam's like real kid? Like, or was that like a stunt?
I mean, they just did have a baby.
That was definitely a newborn-looking baby.
Yeah.
Yes,
That was
Yeah, it's
a
real
newborn
deal.
baby.
That's
That
cool.
was
Yeah.
the real deal, yeah.
Very cool.
That looked like it was at Shady Grove.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Super neat. Super neat.
Very cool.
Gosh, how long has DeJoy been in that office? That is something. But you don't hear people complaining about the post office as much as they used to, so I guess something's going right there. You're right. Maybe the media that I enjoy isn't hitting it as hard as it probably needs to be hit, but still, or maybe there's bigger problems out there. Who knows? All right, guys, very good. That was cool, Jeff. Anything else to be said about that? Thank you for presenting that.
Like I say, I attended.
Thanks for bringing it. It's good to see Scott
At the
out there.
Hubert Humphrey Building, and it was a very elaborate setup. The Postal Service is one of the uniformed services, so they had quite an array of folks in uniform and also playing instruments and songs and stuff. So it was really quite a good event to attend.
Awesome.
Neat.
Awesome. Any questions from anybody?
That was really cool. Thanks for sharing.
Good stuff. Thanks for sharing. That's awesome. All right, you guys, next up on the agenda, the Hearts Public Improvement Agreement, and I'm sure town staff can lead us off and click us in.
Yep. So this public improvement agreement is for the Harts property. It is located on Fisher Avenue. It is 8 homes, zoned for PTR 2. And the public improvement agreement is basically a narrative format of all the things that are required by the site plan that's been approved, and it makes it into a binding agreement. So the planning commission actually approves or disapproves the public works agreement, and the commission is ratified. So this has been through the planning commission and it's been approved as you see in front of you.
Got it. Thank you for the work on the planning commission's behalf. I trust everybody's read this at one point or another, and the recommendation from town staff, well, I don't even know if you recommend. We have a job to ratify it if that's going to be the
Exactly.
case. So, the planning commission, once again, has already done what they've needed to do to approve it. So we can go through it piece by piece if anybody has any questions, or we can move forward with it with a motion.
Any questions?
I read it.
I don't have any questions. We've been looking at this for quite a while.
I make a motion, we approve the Estates at Hearts Farm PIA agreement as written.
Second?
Great. Motion been made by Martin, second by Sarah. Again, thanks for the hard work on the planning commission on their behalf, as well as the Hearts, working through the process with town staff and town staff's work too. Motion's been made, been seconded. We need to see if we can get approval. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None? Okay, very good. Next. Appreciate that. We have it is the Willard Public Improvement Agreement is the next one, correct? And this is an amendment that we're going to be discussing.
That's correct. This has been before you guys once before, and it's been ratified. There's a request in to make an amendment to this. The applicant is here also, if you need to ask any questions.
If you guys want to make a presentation of any kind, commentary, et cetera, appreciate it. It's all good.
Or maybe, this is Jim Clifford, attorney for the Willards, maybe in the form of an apology. We did this project without a builder. I think you all know that. We did that because we didn't have a good experience when we tried to do it with a builder. So we came back with a project that we thought was more hands-on, more Poolesville-centric. And I was an English major, and Billy was an econ major, and Neither one of us were architects. So what we ended up finding out when we did bring the builder in and they did start working with the site plans that were approved, we realized that the 2,000 square feet was just going to be too restrictive when you have front-load garages. They're integral to the footprint, and the lots are only 4,000 to 5,000 square feet. They have heavy restrictions, both with setbacks and with easements and stormwater management. And we just found that our goal of trying to have at least half the houses with first floor masters were going to be greatly impaired. We weren't going to be able to pull it off. And so we went back and forth quite a bit and finally came to the conclusion we had to do this. So even though our contract says they can't build houses over 2,200 or 2,000 square feet, we're having to ask for 2,200, and we'll go back and amend our contract. But we had intended to keep that 2,000 as the number, just have come to the point where we realize it's not possible. If you look at the letter I sent to Wade, we're only talking about half the houses that have the potential to be first floor masters. The rest of them are going to stay at 2,000 square feet and under. But about half of them are probably going to go to the 22 and not over that.
Question for you, Jim.
Yeah.
So are you saying then that if any of the houses that are 2,200, approximately 22, or the limited at 2,200 square feet, they will be first floor master two-car garage houses?
That's the intention with it. By going to 2,200 square feet, they'll give us at least half of the houses with first floor masters.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm told that the market will decide that. So if they don't have a market that requests first floor masters for half the houses, then they won't sell 2,200 square foot houses. They'll be selling 2,000 square foot houses. But I think everybody believes that the first floor master is going to be the hot ticket. And that's what we need here in town. So I believe, I'd have every reason to believe we will max out at that half. I think it's 32 or 33. If you look at the letter from Wade, I think it says there'll be about 21 of the 27 lots that are front-loaded because of the design of the lots that have the potential for 2,200 square feet. Otherwise, there's too much constraint. And then on the 35 lots that are rear-loaded, as many as 12 could end up building out to 2,200 square feet. But the market will dictate that. If nobody wants first-floor masters, then I don't see us getting there.
Right, and just to clarify too, and I think it's the same question, I'm just going to ask it a different way, and I know you're answering it. So then that means that if a 2,200 square foot or below, but above 2,000 square foot, is there a chance that between 2,000 and 2,200 square feet could morph into something besides a first floor master house?
I guess that the answer to that question is if the lot allows a 2,200 square foot house, then it can be built at 2,200 square feet. Whether it will be a master bedroom there depends on the market. But from what I understand, it's probably highly unlikely that we would end up with a 2,200 square foot house that does not have a first floor master, because we think that's where the market's going to be. And we've always believed, and I think you guys agree, that this is a real Poolesville-centric development. And we have a tremendous amount of people that want senior move-down housing, and that's where the first floor bedroom becomes pretty important. I'm told it's probably about 400 square feet to do a master bedroom, master bath, closets.
Right, 20 by 20.
Yeah,
Yep.
and then the garage takes up 400 square feet, or some portion of that envelope. And, conceivably, the first floor would be 1,000 square feet unless we go to 1,200 square feet. Now, I was talking to Tom Kettler about this earlier, and it's kind of consistent with Cape Cod's to have this little larger downstairs and this little smaller upstairs. And so the 2,200 square feet wouldn't be evenly distributed to 1,100. It would be most likely 1,200 first floor, 1,000 for second floor.
Everybody gets where I'm coming from on this square footage equation.
So my thoughts on this are, like Jim said, like what are the chances this is going to creep into, because when this project started out, we were told 900 to 1,200 square feet, and it's sort of, morphed upward a little bit.
Well, I'm sorry, Martin, we told you 900 square foot?
Wasn't
I mean,
that?
first floor, you mean?
No.
It's always been 2,000.
When the development, the what do you call it, the overlay zone was approved, weren't we talking about 900?
It was like 12 to 18.
12 to 18,
12 to
okay.
18 was kind of like the.
So, you can see how, obviously it's going up.
I don't think that was a number from us, though. That might have been a number, but.
Back in like 2016, 17.
Yeah.
I think 1,800 is still going to be the sweet spot here for most of these houses.
But, so I'm concerned if we're approving some of the homes to go up to 2,200 square feet, like, is it possible to write that into the contract that the master bed, that those homes have to be like what you're hoping that they'll be?
It's a little late for that. I mean, we already have a contract. And frankly, I don't get the feeling they're really, they want to be competitive out here. They want to come out and be competitive with the townhouses being built. So they want to build as nice a home as possible. The Willards have given them some really strong architectural controls that you guys have seen that are hardwired into the contract and will be in the HOA documents. I'm working on those, working with them on those right now. I don't think we have a lot to worry about as far as how the house is going to look or how it's going to be used. I don't see 5-bedroom, 4-bedroom houses kind of scenarios coming out of this. This is strictly a matter of trying to accommodate a better, it would only be about 1,200 square feet, and only about half the lots could even accommodate that because it's so tight.
So are we saying
I don't think we have to worry about that as much as you might think.
Okay, so are we saying that we're approving this for half the lots, potentially up to half the lots, is that right?
No, the planning commission approved it just across the board, 2,200 square feet, period.
Okay, so basically, if you change your mind, or the developer, because I guess the property's going to be handed over soon, if the developer changes their mind, everything could be 2,200?
Well, keep in mind that the lots are already recorded. The site plan is already approved, and the guardrails, I guess you could say, are already in place. They're not going to be able to change those.
Right.
So for the setbacks, the lot configurations themselves, they're going to limit how many can actually go to 2,200.
So probably only half could do it anyway?
Yeah, we had our land planner go and look at the building footprints and the buildable areas in each of these lots. And it was our guy that told the builder that these are the constraints, these are the lots that you might be able to get to 2,200 square feet, and the rest of them you're not going to be able to. So the guardrails we put in initially for 2,000 are still there. It's just what we're going to give them a chance to do on some of the lots that had a little wiggle room is to add some square footage.
And is max lot square footage, max lot coverage square footage a factor on these?
Lot coverage is going to be, yes.
Yeah, all
So
those,
that's one of the parameters that's going to
Absolutely.
define that ratio of.
all those constraints are in place. That's what we have to keep in mind.
I mean, they're
Builders
going
are
to,
not going to have a lot
those are
of
going to be
freedom.
active.
So setbacks are what's going to really limit it.
Okay, setbacks versus max lot square coverage.
Because the lots themselves are that 4,000 to 5,000.
Understood, yeah. But I mean, I know we've had those similar constraints in other developments in terms of max.
Yes, the overlay zone actually doesn't have a lot coverage requirement.
Right, I understand that because it also it creates different boundaries, I guess. So,
You can understand the concern, because
Absolutely.
soon this property won't be the Willards anymore, it'll belong to a developer, and we have to make sure that they do right by what we want.
It keeps me up at night.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time, I spent my entire day today working on the HOA documents that were sent to me to make sure that all of the constraints that we've given these people in our contracts survive and go into the HOA documents. So yes, I'm being really careful to make sure that everything that we were worried about and you were worried about is addressed and is part of this.
We just, and I share Martin's concern, and I've listened to all the planning commission meetings. I think the real concern is that we don't want, because again, once you release it, this is over with.
Right.
We don't want the developer to abandon first floor masters, main floor master
Right.
bedrooms at the drop of a hat because the 2,200, the everything works the right way if you do something different.
Right.
And
right.
and we appreciate. We know that you guys have worked hard with the planning commission to drive the product in a Poolesville centric way, and we know that that's your intention. And we know you.
It's our best chance to get
Yes.
a master bedroom on the first floor is to go to 2,200.
Okay, so we're not trying to reverse engineer this. We're just trying to make sure that we all understand the guardrails.
Right.
So-
But as you know, Jim, you're in the business, you go into the model or you go into the sales office and you get to see a series of different elevations and house front types. And ultimately, the market drives what gets built and what gets bought. What we want to do is make sure that we haven't cut our nose off to spite our face by having not enough square footage to get that master bedroom on the first floor. We have to set the opportunity there, and that's really what we can do.
And I appreciate the concern, and we share the same concern. I
Right.
think that the first floor masters are going to be big sellers. And
I do too.
I've heard more from people that want to downsize in Poolesville, speaking to the residents.
Right.
So I do feel like this is not, it's not an unfound question line, but it is something that we just want to make sure we had all the same intentions.
Yeah.
And the reason why you're doing it, I'm not opposed to it. I think it's smart that we spell it out and have that conversation and also go through the background that the planning commission did to help establish those guidelines. So I don't have any other questions. You guys go ahead.
Yeah, so let's say a maximum 39 homes would be 2,200 square feet.
Yeah, I think that's,
Size would the other, because there's going to be 63 homes, I understand, so what size?
there's only that many lots could accommodate 2,200 square feet. All the rest of the lots can't. So they're more likely to be 2,008. I think half of the.
1,800.
Yeah, about half of these are going to be about 1,800. And then the question is, will the market push it to 22?
So when you say the market drives it,
Yes.
they have these options, whoever buys
Right.
the piece of property picks
Right.
out, this is the house I want you to build me.
Right.
And they have to fall within whatever constraints of that parcel of land.
Right.
Okay.
And even,
Am I wrong to assume that a developer is going to build the largest home that they're allowed to build on each, because they can sell it for the most money? I mean,
but
logical, but-
that's the concern we had when we created the lot sizes. I mean, everybody talked about guardrails, and the point was that our lot sizes are the size of some of the houses that are being built up county. Most of these are 4,000 square foot lots, and then inside that, all those constraints squeeze that usable land to even a smaller amount. And the land engineer, taking the box sizes of these houses, has considered what could be built there, and they assume that with the site plan approved as it was, that only about half the houses were going to be able to be built over 2,000 square feet.
Wait, do you agree with that?
No, it makes perfect
Okay.
sense, absolutely.
Is there anything that we're missing here? Any kind of, Jim keeps making reference to guardrails, which is a great point. Is there any kind of guardrails that we should be looking to?
No, as far as everything that's been set up with the overlay zone and how everything's done, we have special permitting process set up just for this development because of the constraints and the regulations that we've placed on it, that he's putting into his covenants in perpetuity. So I think we have it covered, yes.
Well, I remember, and it wasn't too long ago, that we made a concession on, I think it's called the connection fee, based on a certain size of a house that was more equivalent, and correct me if I'm wrong, it was more equivalent to a townhome.
Right.
Now it's bigger.
Well, no, it's not. 2,200 square feet, that number is very consistent with what the townhomes are. That's one of the reasons that they came to talk to us, is they wanted to be at least competitive with the townhomes in town. And 2,200, Jim, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that about the average size of a townhouse?
So the Dan Ryan, the new town, what we call the new townhomes, they're all right around 2,000 square
The
feet.
ones next to
By
the
elementary
elementary
school?
school?
Yes.
That doesn't include garage.
That does include, it's all above grade. So there's rooms
does
behind
include
those garages.
They have the garage at the first floor.
Yeah. How many floors are they?
3.
Yeah, these are two-bedroom houses, or two-floor houses. Yeah.
And they're
So will
separate,
Yeah.
they're not side by side like the townhomes.
Will there be any, because I remember very
Mm-hmm.
well that the size range is going to be 1,200 square feet up to 2,000.
Right.
And now it sounds like that's not at all the case.
Well, that's for the reasons I've just explained. When the architectural work started to come in, we started to realize we couldn't accomplish what we wanted on those sites with with under 1,800 square feet. I really believe half of these houses will be around 1,800. As far as the consideration for the connection fee, they'll only be able to use that if you guys allow them to use it, because I think the way you wrote that legislation, you had to have the whole subdivision under 2,000 square feet to get that accommodation. So if they build one house over 2,000 square feet, they don't get that accommodation.
Well, that's not the way, so planning commission, we did discuss this was part of the memo that I had sent out to the board. They went ahead and approved 2,000 square foot, and everything would still get that discounted rate
2,200.
at 2,200. And that's why you see the red line version that now is
Okay.
up there.
But
Only thing that
even
changes
still,
is
the whole subdivision has to be built, well, it will be under 2,200. Yeah, so it would work. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that.
That's okay.
So just to clarify, approximately half the parcels are so small or small enough such that the homes could not be bigger than 1,800.
They won't,
2,000.
exactly.
Okay.
So the rear-loaded ones have the greatest potential to do a master bedroom and not be larger. The front load are the ones that really require it because the garage is taking up a good portion of the footprint of the first floor.
And the way this is written, once the Willards don't own the property anymore, then the developers can't come in and say, hey, we ran into some hiccups, we need 2,500 feet, right? Like that, like they're limited?
No, they would have to come back in the same
Beauty is
form
you
right
get
here
to-
to make a request.
Yeah.
Right. And contractually, they'd be in violation of our contract to do that.
Okay, good, that's good to know.
Yeah, yeah.
Just the two random questions. See, when would you expect to break ground? Or they would break ground?
We are anticipating closing within the next week to 10 days. Billy and I had no reason to be here tonight contractually. Our deal's done. But they made us believers that if this is going to be a successful project, which is our primary concern, that we needed to get this fixed. So that's why we're here. I believe that they're probably going to start moving dirt on this thing sometime this winter, possibly late winter, early spring, but I don't know for sure.
Okay, and the other question I have is, and I think we probably talked about this before, but is there any way you could, that you could ask them to expedite the path that goes from Wayland Commons over to the John Poole House?
I think the town can ask them to do whatever you think in the best interest of the town. Now, they're going to help.
Yeah, we've not talked about phasing or anything yet, but we certainly
Yeah,
will have.
that would be really helpful for a lot of people.
Could you state that again, just so I got it clear? What are you asking?
So in the schematics that you drew up, then, that look real nice, there's a path that goes basically from like halfway up Wayland Commons here that goes right over the John Poole House, like a walking path. And as it stands now, there's a lot, you have to walk up, people have to walk up, cross the road, walk through that thing that they jokingly call the notch of death, because,
Right.
you could high five the car's side mirror. So like it would be a helpful thing for a lot of pedestrian traffic, I think.
Well, remember the sidewalk, the streetscape, will accomplish that on Fisher, too.
Sure, yeah, no, I get that, but having something sooner, that it seems to me like the streetscape will be like one of the last things that happens.
No, we
Actually,
put
it's
it,
the first thing.
yeah,
Oh, really?
there's actually a time frame we placed in the PIA that has to be done by, I forget what building permit it was, but
In there, I think it's the 30th building permit.
we put milestones in it.
I think you'll find that it's the first improvement.
And they're gonna have stormwater work, access easements, so they're gonna probably want to develop the front of the property,
Okay.
at least that portion of it.
Yeah, front to back.
And
I appreciate you indulging my,
absolutely.
trying to make sure that, this, once it leaves your all's hands, that like it's done properly.
Believe me, we are very worried about that. We took it this far because we didn't want to leave it to a builder to intervene with our
Yeah.
intentions, and
Yeah, we
we've
appreciate
taken it as far as we can possibly take it.
Good deal.
Yeah, we
and-
appreciate that.
Just for Jerry's sake, that house, the small white house that's coming down, is within the streetscape area. In other words, it has to get out of the way.
But the beautiful home over here is staying, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Yeah, it's staying, and it's staying in the name of the Willards.
Yeah,
It's
good.
staying in their own church.
So just to be clear, because I'm repeating myself, I recollect that the smallest home was going to be 1,200, but that's no longer the case?
Well, no, it can be they're going to have homes that are available of the smaller sizes. It's just going to be market-driven, Jeff. That's all I can tell you. We can't tell you there's going to be 25 houses at 1,200 square feet. There's going to be 25 houses at 1,600 square feet. There's going to be 25. We don't know, but they're putting out there a product that would allow for that. But the problem is, and it's from day one, and if you go back in the record, and you'll see it every time I met with you guys, was that we really were counting on the county to take that $60,000 impact tax off the board for these small houses, and so far they have not done it. So as a builder, when you're writing a check for $60,000, you're going to try to build, as Martin says, as large a house as you can. So all we've been able to do is put these guardrails up to prevent it from going over well, 2,200 square feet in this case. But if we can get impact taxes down, we can put some pressure on these builders to accommodate the buyers for that, but it's just impossible. It's an impossible situation. And all of the council members recognize that, but they don't know how to do it.
No mechanism.
It reminds me of the liquor law that they all know is antiquated and
Yes.
but there's not much they can do.
Too
about
much
it.
money coming in
too
to
much
change it.
money coming in.
And the same thing's true
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
The very first thing that was said to us by the county exec's office was, but we need the money for schools. Well, I know, but this is a housing issue. You need that too. Yeah, but we can't give up money if we got to, when we went in front of the council on the impact tax change, the guy sitting next to me was from the county executive's office, and he was the only one of the four of us speaking that was against changing the impact taxes. And he did it for that reason.
Of course.
Well,
So, go ahead.
no, go ahead first.
So just to clarify, again, Wade, if the developer wants to build anything over 2,200 square feet,
Yeah.
they have to come in and get permission.
Well, every house will have, we get a wall check and everything with it, yes,
Good,
absolutely, yeah.
good deal.
Yeah.
And then-
Remember, the water allocation and the Public Works Agreement both say, will say, if this is approved tonight, 2,200 square feet, that's a game changer.
Right.
They don't have any flexibility.
Is that right?
That's exactly correct.
Deal. Yeah.
Well, they didn't have any flexibility when it was 2000, and all of a sudden they do.
Go ahead, I'll go after you.
If you grant it.
Yeah, that's what we're here to discuss.
So Sarah's going to say something, I'll say after Sarah.
Yeah, I think there are three main things that come up when residents talk to us about housing. One is, we don't want Poolesville to explode and we want to keep it a small town. This is private property, it's all within legal zoning, like this is a done deal. We want housing for seniors, and it sounds like this is an opportunity to provide housing
Absolutely.
to meet senior needs. And the third is affordable housing. It sounds like this is not going to meet those types of requirements, that we're looking for affordable housing mainly because there's not a mechanism in our county system right now
Right.
to facilitate or encourage that in terms of new building.
They're part of the problem.
Right.
County's part of the
But
problem.
that maybe remodeling existing, I mean, like, we might be able to find some of the creative ways as a town, but it's not going to be through new development.
Well, it was never the target of this project to be affordable housing.
Right, like,
It was
I get that
missing
it
middle.
can't be everything.
This was always to be a missing middle product, something that gets people in town to be able to stay in town.
This is affordable housing, Montgomery County.
That's right, that's right.
No, but it is providing a smaller footprint for people who
Yes.
want to downsize.
Yeah.
And I think it's filling a need.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
So again, it's not meeting all of the needs, but it's filling a need.
Right. There'll never be another project or there never has been and never will be another project in Poolesville with the constraints that this thing has. People don't, most builders are not interested in this. And we learned that the hard way. Mr. Kettler will tell you the same. We really had to spend some time finding a builder that would be willing to do this.
Is that because of the restrictions imposed by the overlay zone?
No, it's our restrictions our restrictions are worse than your restrictions. The overlay zone was certainly restrictive, but we tightened that up significantly, and then we did small lots. So, yeah, there's no small lot requirement in the overlay zone. That was to put the guardrails on.
You guys, just keep in mind too, that this is, you're talking about an average Westerly or Westmont house has a lot size of 12,000 square feet. These are going to be 4,000 square foot lots.
Which we were told to do.
Yeah.
We were told to
one-third
make it scale
Well,
to the
I would
infill.
say you were told by the people too.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
And through your due diligence, the amount of, when you guys had to come back and start over again essentially, and listening to the people and working through our planning commission, working through our process, also seeing how this fits into our comprehensive plan. There's a lot of all those pieces. I commend you guys for going back to the drawing board and then coming up with something that the town of Poolesville can wrap around. And I'm sure that, it's going to be very successful. And I'm more than pleased to say that I appreciate that you guys came back with something that was realistic for, we've had housing discussions before, and it just doesn't make sense to be able to have a first floor master and a 2-car garage. And you all have people that say, we don't need a 2-car garage. But I can tell you, try and sell a house in Poolesville that doesn't have a 2-car garage, that is a tough thing to do.
One of the things we have in the HOA document that Jerry will like, because he was concerned about this, is, but the HOA document actually says you have to keep the garage available for one car. If you want to use it for storage, fine, but one car has to be able to fit in that garage. It's in the HOA documents, they're enforceable.
It's a new breed.
Sounds like it'd be hard to enforce, though. You go knocking on.
Very easy to enforce, yeah. Have you all watched Tulsa King with Sylvester Stallone? Have you all seen that?
No.
When he moves into the neighborhood, he's a mafia guy, and the first thing that happens, the
don't
guy
want the
comes in
mafia.
a golf cart and tells him that his trash is violating the
Yeah.
rules.
We have a part-time code enforcement, so that's good. Jerry, I know you want to say something. Jerry, go ahead.
Okay, she said two-car garage. So is this going to stipulate that always has to stay a two-car garage configuration? You can't all of a sudden wall off one of the bays and turn it into a rec room or whatever? Is that, so basically.
I mean, Jerry does ask a good question. Has your developer, I think I know the answer, but has your developer said that they're going to be offering one-car options? One-car garage
I haven't
options?
heard that. I could ask, but they are saying that, and I can change it if it's necessary, but they do say you have to park one car in your garage, which my experience has been you have to tell them that or they don't, otherwise it becomes storage.
I mean, we haven't sold, the last one-car garage houses that were built new were the Ryan townhomes. And I don't believe that there's any plan further for that. And I can tell you from a professional perspective, it's difficult. I would imagine the developer, if they're going to want to sell houses, that's going to be something they're going to be doing. But do you mind checking, and Wade, do you guys mind if there's no said requirement that they have to be two-car garages with these houses?
No, not from our perspective, not at all.
And they
Something
say
we would
that
not
and the
control.
requirement is according to the HOA docs, but not into the PIA. But the HOA docs that you're working on say that it has to be, that one car has to be able to be kept in the garage. And that makes sense because that's how you got past the parking regulations that we're having, the tightness of the lots.
That's
I'm
why
not
there's
aware of
only
that.
25.
Yeah.
I
Well,
just-
I'm thinking out loud.
Really, it was a storage issue. Jerry brought a couple of good points up during our journey, and one of them was storage. And,
Right.
and
No, I commend you. I think it's what we have to have. One absolutely has to turn into that, or else that's going to be an unhelpful parking situation for us in that development. And the development brings the density that we've talked about. It brings all the pieces. I'm glad that you guys have worked hard to, and really have been judicious about your, and I would say very careful in your request to have it be moved from 2,000 to 2,200 for a very specific reason. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Any other comments? or-
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just, let me jump in real quick, Jeff.
Hang on,
And
go
so, just going in, it's in terms of that capacity, because the guardrails are there, that definitely it limits building beyond, like with the question, I think, Martin, you were bringing up, it's, what if you say, hey, we want to build several, these 22,000 square feet, but the guardrails in place, there's a limit to how many you can build, right?
And that's what's in the letter. It basically tells you what the land planner says, where 2,200 square foot lots are possible.
Right, so there's a natural cap
That's right.
on what can be done, because I'm just thinking about the concerns that people who might look at the cover but not really read into the specifications. And, some folks will say, oh, and look at all these ones you're building, but the reality is that there is just a cap, because the guardrails will limit how many can be built.
Right,
And then the market would drive, within that cap, the market would drive how many actually are built
Within the cap.
within the cap. Okay, thank you. And thanks for coming out.
And the cap's not artificial. I mean,
There's a hard cap.
there's nothing there that you could build more than 2,200 square feet, as I understand it. That's how constrained these lots are.
Is there a way to codify that no more than 39 homes can be 2,200 square feet? I mean,
You don't have to because it's already.
Because it's already naturally
the reason
built
I'm worried
in.
about, I'm
the
thinking about
code.
this, is because a long time back, we approved such and such, and now there's what I would refer to as scope creep. And honestly, I don't see this ending tonight.
It might not end tonight, but if they come back and they want more, then you all, I won't be here, but you all can say, yes or no to that.
I don't want that to happen. I want it to.
Regardless, even if you say tonight, only 50% of them are going to be 2,200 square feet, they can come back and ask for more later.
Jeff, I got to tell you, I'm really leaning on these guys, and I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying with this until they're done. I don't see them coming back here. I've told them from the very beginning, I want to see 2 to 3 bedroom homes on this property, not 4 bedroom or 5 bedroom, even using basements. And I've been real clear about that, and I'm working on documents right now that are going to make that real clear. Can they change their documents? Typically, yes, but I'm going to write it so that they can't. They're going to have to live with what we're doing here tonight. And I'll do the best I can to keep that in place. We're going to be here. I'm going to see you in I don't want these people to embarrass me. I want to do the best I can to keep this thing tight and build what we envisioned, what the whole community envisioned. Not let the builders market decide what get built out there. We sat here and heard scale. Experts were brought in to talk about building to scale here. We listened to that, and we built a subdivision and designed a subdivision to ensure the scale is right for the property.
And Wade, what was the answer to the question about the connection fee? Because we had approved a connection fee based on 2,000.
Yes.
Now it's not.
So now what?
Now it is.
It's still, yeah, it just increases to 2,200 square foot with a discounted townhouse rate.
Yeah, this is.
Because other townhomes are also 2,200 square feet.
Yeah, and-
Get that townhouse.
Well, I don't dispute that. I'm just saying that we agreed to that at the beginning. We didn't agree to this in the beginning.
Would we have to separately approve that change? Or that-
No, the only change is right there. 2,000 goes to 22. Everything else, the verbiage, everything stays the same.
Okay, thank you.
Jeff, I hear your concerns, but I can tell you that this is, you're talking about one of the most surveyed, questioned, written into the comprehensive plan developments probably ever to walk into Poolesville. And the purpose of it is going to be to take care of that missing middle. That is, what everybody has their own definition of missing middle. Poolesville's missing middle is what they're trying to build. And we will have another bite at the apple if they do come to us and ask us to modify this in any way. And my inclination would be no. And plus, on top of it, they're trying to cross all the T's right now. That's what they're doing. They're not here to add, I don't look at this request as being a request to try and figure out how to get away or pave the way for more to take place. I look at this as them trying to close this off. And I think that's where they're coming from. And
Plus, Jim, if they correct me if I'm wrong, but if they come and if they want to change it up and do 2,500, just pulling an arbitrary number, that's against your contract with them. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But not to mention the fact that I've warned them in no uncertain terms that they're not to come back in here and ask for any changes whatsoever.
No, it's good to do it now. This is the time, and this is the
Yeah, I didn't think I'd be back in here. But, we fought them over this issue for about a month and a half now. Now we're almost at closing, and we refused to go to closing last week until this issue was resolved. And so I wanted to see all the documents and have a chance to put my fingerprints on them before we would go to closing. So we canceled last week's closing, and we're looking at week, at the end of this week, if everything's right. If it's not, then we're going to cancel it again.
Mm-hmm. Speaking for myself, fellow seniors, I'm glad you guys are staying the course.
Yeah,
And
well, we
I
need
think
this.
I think it's a product that Poolesville, and I'm not going to drag Tom into this, but I can tell you, watching how his development developed, single-level homes became a priority as time went on. Didn't sell any barely in the beginning of it, and then it just rock and rolled after that, and that became something that our town needed.
I will say that I've heard from seniors that are in the community and seniors who have children and grandchildren in the community who are out of the community, and that they're really looking forward to the opportunity. And so when I think about need, and I agree with the need to find solutions for affordable housing, but I also think there are other needs that is not necessarily the price point of the need, but it's just the space. And when I talk to some of the seniors here, I do hear that, hey, I don't need this yard anymore.
Right.
I can't be going up and down these stairs like I used to go up and down the stairs. And of course, I mean, you guys have heard that. But I do think being able to meet that need is really important, so.
I think the price points will follow, too.
Oh, yeah,
I think that's
yeah.
part of this. So I think that's going to be helpful. You can only charge so much for a 2 or 3 bedroom house,
Right. And there'll be
so
those.
even in Montgomery County.
Thank you, Jim. Nobody seems to believe that.
Yeah, you can only charge so much. People need space. It's going to be a segment that's going to use it.
I'm 73 years old with a wife in a wheelchair. Believe me, I'm sensitive to wanting to have these first floor masters happen.
Yeah.
Right. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe we'll even get our town manager and assistant town manager to move into town.
On the first floor.
How old are you, Wade?
62.
He's getting up there. Maybe you guys can even get a house next to each other.
Anyone
All right,
need
so
to
what's
debate this more?
what's next?
Okay, yeah, you guys. As soon as I tell one joke, you say, "What's next?" Is that how it's going to be?
It's keeping you.
Is that how it's going to
on
be?
task. He's keeping
Up
you
for
on
re-election? Is that what I got to deal with?
So do you need a motion for the amendment or a motion for?
Hang on, let's get.
So it's already been approved by the planning commission, as you see right here in front of you.
Right.
It's changed right there. So that this is approved, it needs to be ratified and approved by you, as presented to you.
Okay.
You got it.
And why is that?
Code says so.
What's that?
The code says so.
Because of the overlay zone?
Nope.
No.
Nope. Every subdivision, just like the Harts is, the planning commission has full authority over the public improvement agreements, because they go through the whole site plan process. They know exactly.
That's right.
yeah.
I'm wondering why we're voting on it.
Because it's a legal binding document, and you're the legislative body, the legislative
Okay.
body has to do
Told me
that.
that before, and
Right. Whether we have to ratify. We don't have to. We'll take a vote on that, but we have to ratify. They can approve. We have to ratify. The contract's with the town of Poolesville, not with the town of Poolesville Planning Commission.
So you want the motion to ratify it? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, I make a motion we ratify the Poolesville Public Improvements Agreement for the Willard Project as written, as amended,
And approved by the Planning Commission.
and approved by the Planning Commission.
Okay. Motion made. Second. Anybody?
Second.
Second. Okay. Anything else? Jeff, I was waiting for that second from you.
yeah, I'm sure you were, but it's not going to happen.
That's what I thought. It's okay. Understood. Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Do we have any other questions or commentary on it? You could have motioned a second just for more discussion if you wanted to. That was in your forte, that would be in your forte. All right, I'm not suggesting that. We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No, yes, no.
Okay, the vote is, the amended
Got it.
and approved is approved 4-1. Thank you for that.
Can I say why I'm voting no?
I'm not turning your mic off yet, but you're getting there.
I have every single expectation that we're going to be doing this again.
Okay. First get reelected, then be prepared to be here.
I guess that possibility is diminishing it by the second.
No, it's not.
All right. So
No,
that's
you're
on the
good.
agenda.
Good job on pushing the issue and expressing the need for clarity. You guys, thank you so much.
And can I say one other thing?
Yeah.
I have every respect for Mr. Clifford. Mr. Clifford's been working on projects at the fire station. Believe me voting no has no,
Or, it actually helps me with my argument with the builder that, that if you think
Right.
this is a cakewalk,
Wasn't unanimous.
you didn't get a unanimous, I love it. Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah.
And I suspect if they came in to try to get more, they wouldn't get a warm reception. I mean, again,
No.
They wanted 2350
No.
Initially, and I told them no.
2250?
2350.
Right.
I told them no, and the
Good
fact
job.
that I was reluctant to come back at 22, but I got to make this project work, and they made a strong case, which I confirmed with people who aren't English majors, that is relevant.
Yeah.
So,
Appreciate it.
Thank you for your hard work.
You guys been through a lot. Thank you for doing that. Planning
Thank you,
Commission,
guys.
good work. And we appreciate it. Now tell them to go ahead and get started.
okay,
Put a shovel in the ground before the
Something
election.
we'll all be proud of.
I'm kidding.
we're good, Jeff.
I'll bring a shovel.
Wade and Niles, are you going to talk about, the only concern that not the only, one of the consistent concerns I've heard from folks is concern about traffic because of
That's already.
dense housing here in the center of town. And so I'm just hoping when you talk about streetscape today, would you mind tying that in or addressing that?
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, it's already addressed. That's only.
assume it is. I
Yeah,
just wanted
there-
to
I mean,
we could actually
for
just
the
talk-
record,
They,
for the
there were a
record.
lot of concerns. You can speak to that, right, at the planning commission level?
Oh, yeah, I mean, that was all vetted like, ad nauseum almost. I mean, so, I mean, it is what it is. There's gonna be some traffic associated with it, but I think they're gonna, they have to follow laws and stuff and line of sight things and.
There was traffic studies that were done. There's excel and decel lanes. There's 3 different ways to get out of the neighborhood. So there's, a lot of thought was put into it, Glassway will be closed off and only opened for the connection there for like Poolesville Day, or if emergency would happen on Fisher Avenue where people had to get out the backside in through Tama.
And I remember there was also a review by the fire department to make sure their apparatus could, with certain turning radiuses with the large apparatus. So
Oh, yes, every street, every court, everything, yes, absolutely. So, but the traffic studies were completed with it, and you're right, it's going to add some traffic to it, but.
I think how we communicate, challenges to the community is very important. Getting ahead of it.
Yeah,
so folks know what
reassurance
to
that these
expect.
things have been considered. That's mostly. For
we
the
help with
record,
that?
I just wanted to hear, folks to be able to hear that from you.
Can we help with that? I mean, we did have a community meeting in my barn. I think Martin was there, and Jim, I think you were there. I don't know if Ed, I don't remember if you were there or not, but we did that once before, and I mean, this, if you're just worried about political coverage, maybe we could do that again. I mean, every time I get a chance to talk to people, like at the hardware store or wherever, I have to remind them of all the fingerprints that are on this plan that came directly from the community. So maybe we need to do that. Maybe we need to go back and remind everybody, have a sit-down and remind everybody that this is their project. I mean,
Maybe when you guys get closer to breaking ground, we can talk about that.
you really own that, aren't you?
Yeah.
I guess I better go get that right.
I have nothing to say beyond that. We'll leave it there. I'm rooting for the development because it makes a lot of sense for the town of Poolesville.
If you
Yeah.
remember, they were quietly sitting on this property and were approached by the town to come and look at developing this because we had just lost our grocery store. This was 9 years ago, Martin. You were,
Yeah, downtown density has always been something that's been important.
Yeah.
Billy?
So you took the words out of my mouth. Yes, we were approached by the town, had no intention of really developing the property. But it is our chance, so I own this property with my 3 siblings. My father was born in that house, right behind you, Ed.
the one on the wall.
Yeah, my great-grandfather built that house. He bought the property that had a little house on it, and moved it to this field out here while he built that house. That house now resides down here behind the shopping center. And our goal as a family just to have something like really nice, pristine, that's gonna last. The building requirements with the stone, or brick, or hardy plank, so it'll last and last and last. So-
Architectural roofs, real windows, real doors,
Yeah, overhangs, right?
right? All the things Tom Kettler said we shouldn't do.
Yeah.
That's why I came tonight.
That's why he came tonight.
Throwing you right under the bus.
I didn't want to speak.
Tom does it on the cheap.
Not until the vote was taken, but it's not about the last spot for us, okay?
We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you,
As a-
Billy.
I
Good to see
want,
you.
since he brought it up, the way we bridged the gap on the impact tax is they took a haircut. They basically supplemented through the sales price what was necessary to cut that impact tax down to make this real. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. It wouldn't have settled. They've really put their heart and soul into this thing, and money, and put their mouth where their money is. Or money.
Okay, this is the part of the meeting where you guys stop talking.
Yes, sir.
We've approved. Let's keep it moving. We love you guys. Thank you. Thanks for the hard work on it, too.
Jerry, take it easy.
Jerry's going to go give you some hell outside in the parking lot, so be ready.
I didn't bring my computer to use the town's electricity to charge it. So I gotta go home and make sure it's not burning down.
Understood. Don't burn down the house.
All right. You all
Thanks
take
again,
care.
you guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. What we got left?
Tell them that's it. We just stop talking. Keep moving.
That's the spirit.
Yeah. I'm not
Ed's rubbing off.
listening to my advice. Okay, Montgomery County hazard mitigation again.
Yes. So this is the 2024 Hazard Mitigation Plan. This is the comprehensive strategy to,
Up on the screen.
oh yeah, I will put it up.
Thank you.
And I'll say, Niles took the lead on this project here. He attended every one of these meetings and worked his way through this, so kudos to him.
I'm just going to pull up I'll pull up the plan, that's fine. It's just going to take a moment because it's quite large. So as I was saying, This is the 2024 Montgomery County Hazard Mitigation Plan. This looks at all the different risks, and what it basically does, it looks at fire, floods, all of the different hazards that could be in the community, and then tries to find strategies and approaches to do this. This is done in concert with all of the municipalities. As Wade said, I attended all of the meetings related to this. We even had a one-on-one meeting where we went through on a map and looked around Poolesville and talked about the various different issues. So as part of this, there's a couple of reasons why, one technical reason why you have to adopt the plan, which is this is what allows us to get FEMA money in case of some type
Natural
of hazard.
disasters, okay.
So that's one of it. And then two, it allows us to coordinate with the county. It allows us to do other things. I'm currently working on a water security plan with the county as well. So that's all sort of related to this. Just to note also that there's recommendations in this, which I've outlined in the memo, just to give you a sense of what we talk about. Those are not requirements. Those are just the just there to kind of guide our work when it comes to hazard mitigation. All of the ones that we highlighted here are things that we are already addressing in some way or another through various, either directly through processes or there have been discussions about. So a couple of them are related to, for example, water. One is a water source interconnection plan. This is something that is related to the water safety plan and the water management plan that Wade has been working on.
And this one's been in, sorry to jump in, this has been in the county plan for the last 2 cycles of this review process also, and not much has been happening, but they keep applying for monies and different things from, to implement it, but it's not happened yet.
And it's countywide, it's not just related to us.
Right.
And one thing that they added this time was talk about agro-tourism, which is something that the Fair Access has been dealing with, just as a way of trying to support sustainability and green initiatives in connection to hazard mitigation. So one of the trends in hazard mitigation is trying to connect all of these things to make communities more sustainable in everyday things that will help them in the case of a disaster or emergency. And another thing you heard a couple of meetings ago from John Strong on stormwater management. So that's another factor that we highlighted in our own discussions with the county, and that was what John presented on, which is those improvements where necessary. And then the last couple of ones, one is just dealing with zoning and potentially environmental impacts. This is something that the Planning Commission has talked about a little bit and talked about various things such as zoning requirements for solar and such. And then the last one is what we were sort of just talking about, which is support for seniors. And that was one thing that we talked about in the meetings with the county. And that's something where the community center, which we'll talk about next, deals with in terms of having an emergency center, which is a discussion that has come in the past. And with the community center, that might be a good opportunity to have that designated as an emergency center, and that would help achieve this goal. There are also some grants available for certain other things through the Maryland Department of Aging related to hazard mitigation as well, which is something the county and the town can look at as well.
I just add one thing. As I remember back when we were doing the program of requirements for the community center.
Yeah.
It was suggested by me regarding a place of refuge, if there should be very bad tornadoes and the like, and it would require a very large generator, it would require some cooking, it would require also reinforced walls, and I believe that was all denied.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to see a shelter. You may see more of a cooling or heating center.
Yeah.
Things of that nature, but not necessarily a shelter from a tornado.
Okay.
But I think also they've been building, the other county buildings they've been building are designed with that in mind. Like, I know that the high school specifically built, like, some of their unisex bathrooms to have showers in them, and they're doing that with the community center as well, so that if we needed to shelter in some of these spaces, county buildings, that they have some of those, I don't know about generators. But like the community center would have a kitchen in it, would have showers.
I think I don't know about the kitchen, I think it's a warming, well, I don't remember the details.
Yeah. But yeah, we can look into that too as part of this. This was more just giving an overview of where we're at. And so there's
Okay,
specifics
sure, thank you.
that we can follow up. And then, as I mentioned before, this is to get FEMA grants and other things. So the staff recommends adopting the plan by motion of the town commissioners. That concludes my report.
Oh, thank you.
I like it. when
Yeah,
you-
I have a question about your report.
Yes.
So and I'm going to get asked this by a bunch of people. I have a feeling if anyone's paying attention and reading this stuff, the water supply support, like it looks like are you talking about like having an alternative, like piping in water if we need it?
So
and what are the assurances? You get where I'm going with this. What are the assurances that if we can pipe in water, that why wouldn't we start annexing property, and why wouldn't Poolesville become Clarksburg or something?
Right, and great points. I think that we'd have to take a look at whatever agreement that we get into. Right now, the first part of the money, as it was explained to me, is really it takes $100,000 to do the design and look at, is it even feasible to run a water line from where Harris Teeter is
Yeah.
to here. So there would be a central location point right there. And I think at that point, the town would be buying water and reselling it to residents. And so there's going to be a fix on the amount that's going to be able to even be shipped here through a pipe. I think the constraints could be put on it then.
Yeah.
So far, it's.
Can you see that?
But my understanding of what they're saying is that this is they're identifying where there's gaps and needs.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Right? And so we are approving this as a
As a-
report.
Yes.
And that then gives them the opportunity to apply for funding.
Correct.
FEMA.
Yeah.
But what we would get through this grant funding would be investing in a plan, not necessarily building and carrying out the.
At this point, it's just a
So that if there was a
Yes.
huge natural disaster like a hurricane,
It-
and all of our water sources were wiped out, we would have a plan.
Yeah, for
that we
emergency.
could implement with additional maybe FEMA money at that time.
Correct. And so some of it is trying to be preventative and some of it is trying to be reactive. And also just the idea of, a connection from Harris Teeter isn't the only thing that is looking at. We could use this to apply for funds for redundant wells, for example.
Right.
Something that we've talked about. It's not just doing these specific things. It's more about here are the concerns, as Sarah said, the gaps, and then how could you potentially solve them? Or this is one option, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's the option we need to go with. Again, nothing in this requires us to do these things. It's to give us flexibility
Options.
to go after grants and say this is connected to this priority in the hazard
Can you
mitigation.
imagine
plan.
so am I getting the PFAS water or the good water?
All of it's going to be good.
All right, cool, thanks.
It's a good point to ask.
Thank you,
about
Nathan.
that, Because there will be people that will think.
Well, and it's a good question. I mean, it is
But it's been in here for 10 years and nothing's happened already. so-
Yes.
Because the one thing that you always come back to with people that live here is they like the small town charm. I guess there wouldn't be any political appetite to start annexing stuff anyway, so.
Not according to the forum the other night.
That's right.
I think there's already 3 votes against that, sounds like. Unless we could find a well, but that was a whole different story.
Right, well,
So anyway, that was, no, it's a good question, Martin, because if we sit there and talk about that we're going to approve something that says that we can get water from Harris Teeter area, then that could lead people to think that would be opening the door for some sort of development.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
I think
Right,
it's
so there's
fair enough.
agreements in place right now between Rockville and WSSC where they have a backup alternative water supply through WSSC that goes into Rockville if their plant was to go down, if they had an issue with it. It's the same type of thing.
I think it's proven to
Maybe
have a
we're
backup
looking at
plan.
water from the Potomac River. I'm just saying, it doesn't have to be from that.
Right, that's very true, very true.
Yeah. But not having a plan, it really puts you in a bad position.
Yeah, potentially.
I think
very
having a
bad.
plan, I like what you had here about why adopt a hazardous mitigation plan,
Yep, me
right?
too.
And we can,
But again, though, just like Martin said, there's people out there that will automatically think that they'll try to read between the lines and think this is the reason why we're doing this, so we can have future development.
yeah, so we got to clarify for them.
We'll just keep it clarified.
Yeah.
And presentation's great, and, all you have to do is read or try to read the plan, and then you're.
Yeah.
It's just a presentation. We don't need a motion or anything.
So that
Yeah, we
was
do.
to adopt the plan. That can be done you have to adopt it officially, and then we send that to the county.
plan,
It's the county's plan, we adopt it, we tell the county we've adopted it, and then they tell FEMA.
In the.
Yeah, and then they tell FEMA, these are all of the towns that have adopted the plan, so that if there is an issue,
Yeah.
then they can say, so this is a good example with what has happened currently with the hurricanes. Those communities are automatically already, eligible because they had already adopted their plans.
But those who refuse to beforehand are not.
Right, and so that's where you have to deal with those things. That's an example.
So you need a motion to adopt the plan?
Correct.
Make a motion, we adopt the 2024 Montgomery County Hazard Mitigation Plan as written.
I'll second his motion.
Motion by Martin, second by Ed. Any other questions or commentary on this? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Oh, wow, okay, 5-0 vote.
Nice job, Niles.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Niles, and for all the work on it. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good. Okay, old business, Community Center Resolution 002-24. You guys can give the background on that.
Sure, this was introduced at our last meeting, and what this does is provide intent from the commissioner's point of view that they're to use, allow the county to use Dr. Dillingham Park for a community center site. And we have a resolution, you read it into the record.
And the background, why we need this resolution? Beyond that?
It's just so it starts rolling the ball for the county to go ahead and start moving through the processes they need to go through to know that the site selection is been chosen and that we're on board with it and we're partnering with them in this event.
So we've had the information on this, and this is time for the vote, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I make a motion, we adopt resolution number 00-24.
I second his motion.
Motion been made by Martin, second by Ed. And just to clarify, and the reason why I asked Wade for that question is that, again, there's going to be people that have short memories of how we've gotten this far.
Yep.
And we need to make sure that the people of Poolesville know that this is, that, first of all, like we've talked about, that the Parks Board is going to find a proper home for the dog park, so we have to allay those fears. I also asked Wade today to put out send me the link, which I'll publicize through Facebook, for the expansion of the skate park, so people have an idea of what that side of the property is going to look like. And then we use this tool that we're putting together here to let the county move forward with their part of how they're going to use the property. It's really a three-part situation that we're just providing more clarity to by coming up with this resolution. It's required so the county can move forward, but still it's something that we created.
And the tot lot stays.
As of now, yeah.
Well, as of now, yes.
Yeah, the county likes the other amenities along with their community centers like they do all the centers
Yeah.
and other things outside.
Yep. Okay, motion made and second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None? Okay, we've approved that. Thank you for your work on that.
Before you start your town manager report, I probably should have said this in my announcements, but I talked to Wade before the meeting briefly about the question that was asked about, in the forum about the town staff, the front office staff not getting a pay increase when we went and did like the salary study and everything. And Wade, I think you told me that that's something you're looking into at this point.
Yes, and the answer is we looked at all the classifications. I believe this was in 22, we did this. And while the office staff got a regular raise, there was some reclassification of the guys in the field, the people in the field, and we raised them up. They were definitely much further behind the comparable municipalities that we looked at.
Okay.
You're saying the office staff already were at comparable.
They're right close, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And you're studying that now again, like looking at like comparable salaries from MML
We
and so
just had our
forth.
meeting, Miles and I both starting the budget process right now, so.
No, we're talking about the staff in the office now.
Office,
Not the guys in the field. It's from what I remember about the study we did before, like we ended up raising salaries and benefits to be pretty darn competitive with WSS.
Absolutely, with similar.
Yeah, so we shouldn't have people leaving for, greener pastures necessarily at this point, because between the salaries and the benefits package we offer, seems like we're pretty competitive. But, so you're going to look into the front office and make sure that they're competitive as well.
But make no mistake about it, we looked at the front office too.
Okay.
And determined that they were competitive at the time. Each position, the definition of each position, so, yeah, I think it's going to be, staff's going to come up with recommendations in plenty of time for our budget process.
Yeah.
as we move
Now, we'll take a
forward.
look at that town manager's salary.
And Jim,
A lot of fat we can cut out there.
Remember, you were supposed to have Niles ask about that, not you.
Kicked him twice.
And just out of curiosity, is that something that you guys are going to look at, like, every other year, every 5 years, something
Usually
like that?
about every 3 to 5 years, yeah.
Make sure you're
yeah.
competitive. Good.
And if I remember, there was also, kind of in conjunction with that, there was an employee satisfaction survey. And that was some years back.
That was all in 22.
That was it's only 2 years ago.
Only 2
Right.
years ago, okay.
Yep.
It seemed longer, yeah. Maybe it was 21, because I,
And it was 22,
Was it
because it was
22?
the meeting right before I started.
okay.
That's the only reason why I remember that.
I think it's incumbent upon the board as time goes on and town staff to work together to make sure that they have, that survey gets revived.
Yes.
And that we do make sure that we're meeting the expectations.
Annual or semi-annual.
We,
It's
and we
a
did,
little painful to do it every year, but it could be,
and we did do a follow-up on that last year.
Yep.
So we did survey everybody again
yeah.
last year.
Yeah, there was a,
We
it was a
didn't like
survey.
the
in
answer, so we tossed him out.
Right. Just the
No,
ones-
it came back very positive, very positive.
Oh, good.
Right. There was one or two that still needed some work.
There
but
was.
The rest of it that's normal too.
But it's moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
I moved in the right direction. Yeah, very good. Town manager's report.
Okay, so we did receive our official notification from MDE. Last year, we put together a couple grant applications. One has been approved for $700,000 for building enclosures around Well 2 and Well 3's PFAS filtration units. And then we received approval for a $1.4 million low-interest loan to do some westerly waterline replacements. So that's really good news.
Awesome.
And the low interest is between 1.6 to 2. We don't know exactly what it's going to be. If we do a 20-year, 30-year, we're working those out. So Jay is going over all the documents right now, and this will be placed on the next in November, the agenda, and we'll discuss it further and get approval to move forward or not move forward with it.
So it's an arm, or they're going to actually set a?
Oh, no, they're fixed. They're fixed.
Okay.
So there is two separate things, a grant for building the enclosures around the well. and
Yes.
Separate from that, the low interest rates.
Loan for the other
Loan
one.
for the- okay.
Yep. So we have one debt service loan right now left. That's it, so.
Pretty amazing.
That is-
There was a time we had 4.
Exactly.
In progress.
Exactly.
And also, too, that's a forgivable loan, the 700,000.
Yeah, so, I call it a grant, but it is a forgivable loan. So there's an administrative fee.
They
you have to
give you
pay,
the
but-
money, you do the job, the loan is forgiven.
Yes, which is exactly how we do the grants, so.
Yeah.
Wouldn't, in terms of the water line replacement in Westerly, wasn't there
grant, smells like a.
covered by the American Rescue Fund?
No, the Westmont water lines were covered by the American Rescue Funds. Westmont
Why
water
not the other
lines.
ones? Was there a cap of the money?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
yep, we used it all up. Or are using it all up right now as we're finishing that project. Yep. Okay, the pool bubble, you guys talked about it a little bit. Yes, there's been several meetings with the county, and we had one this morning, more of a nuts and bolts kind of engineering meeting to talk about, fire marshal access, getting the gas line in there, requirements for the heating units themselves, all these things that are, I shouldn't say hurdles, but potential things we need to take a look at to find solutions to prior to really engaging the county on this with cost and what, real issues might be. So you'll be hearing more and more about this, and we kind of tasked John and his company, some architects, with taking a look at, what's existing there right now, especially like the bathroom areas and showers, they probably had to be heated.
Yeah, it's just.
There's so many different little pieces that no one thinks about when you think about doing a pool bubble. So we're trying to pull all those together to get a realistic view on what it's really going to take to get it done. So,
We call them hurdles, and they call them engineering.
no problems, only solutions.
That's right, only solutions.
Love it.
But the roof on the
Tagline
bathhouses
for
are,
company.
the walls are like this, there's a gap there.
Yes, we know the building's going to be,
It may come down to you just take the whole building down and rebuild. It's easier than retrofitting. I mean, the answers are going to be what they come out to be, but.
yeah. And then Wade, you're going to write John's going to take an initial stab at some sort of task list. We're going to modify that task list to see data into what we've already seen and talked about. And
Yes.
then, they're going to work on feasibility, prices, and, and concerns.
Right. So that is the most of the engineering aspect of it, and we'll put together things from the pool bubble, the company themselves, and ongoing maintenance issues, and, try to get just a full picture on what the whole thing's going to be like.
And Clark Azar did mention that they have that they have done a study for another company that does the Farley Company, that is
Farley
a
Group.
competitor to the people that we visited and that we've had conversations with. So, I mean, we'll probably in the end up having some sort of either through John or through town staff or Link or myself, we're going to get with that other company and just establish a relationship, learn what we can from them, see how that applies, what's different than what we get from Arizon, and then go from there. I mean, our information gathering is informal, but we'll leave it to the pros to come up with the hard stuff.
So this is all Capitol building research. Do we also have agreements from, is it Robin? Do we have estimates for the staffing side?
No. And one of the things that we talked to Robin a lot about was how do we do that? And she actually educated us quite a bit of the staff problems they have and why they have them.
Yeah, 'cause she said like over the summer, the reason the pool wasn't open for, I don't know, as many hours as it has in the past is because of staffing shortage. Like they couldn't.
Getting people out here is one thing, but a
Yeah.
bigger issue, which I didn't know, is that kids don't really want to do that job anymore. very much.
Lifeguarding jobs.
Excuse me. It takes so much training. You have to get certificates, and it's like you might as well just go to McDonald's and work and get a lot of money that way rather than to go to be a pool guard. So they got to try to figure a way out of that.
What I hear is you're not paying people enough.
No, and that's what I said.
It's really not.
That's what I
A
said.
little bit, but it's not that.
Because I had, 3 of my kids were lifeguards there.
My kids were lifeguards too.
Most of it is
Yeah.
that people don't want to do the job anymore.
Yeah.
So we're, I think part of our strategy, which we don't want to tip our hand too much right now, but part of the strategy is going to be to engage the swim community
Yeah.
to get some level of commitment, commitment's loosely defined, but some level of commitment out of them that they are going to be participatory in terms of labor
Yeah.
and staffing, and that they have to be, if they want true partners and they want a year-round pool facility, that we've got to be uber organized, and we also have to be, we have to have a unified voice.
Workforce development.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And a
Yeah, I
unified
like that.
voice.
That
which
sounds
is-
like an actual
Has
solution.
been difficult, yeah. So we're gonna, we every time we meet, we come up, there's more things that we have to learn and figure out how we're gonna deal with. Again, the plan is to try and put it on a silver platter, but we also recognize that the Montgomery County owns that facility, they own the pool. We may end up being initial information gatherers, we may end up being cheerleaders, we will be.
Community organizers.
Community organizers, we could be fundraisers, all those factors. We're still trying to figure out how all that fits. But we've gained a lot of information in the last couple of days, and it gives us a direction, and we're going to report back. Niles is putting together kind of a running information sheet, and then we're going to keep meeting with people till we get further.
Jim, one question. So now that we've officially said Dillingham Park is outside of the community center, does that bump us up on the ladder?
Potentially.
Yeah, we've been told, yes, we've been told. But I don't think, we've also been told by the people that fund things, Lynn can speak to this too, that every time we mention doing something sooner, they say, oh man, there's no money. We can't do it. We don't even plan on that. But then we get also whispers from council members, including Marilyn, that say, every time they say do something, do it right then. And you have a better chance of doing it because projects do fall off.
And you got to go with momentum too. Like
Yeah, and we're just going to keep being the people that, again, have it ready to go when they're ready.
I do remember it was in March at the county council, they unanimously approved the funding for the community center. Even though it wouldn't be built until some years forward.
But that didn't start till 2029 is the design phase, and then 2030 will be construction. So you're still 5 or 6 years out.
But the site selection is,
It helps.
did that reduce that timeline at all?
It helps a lot.
It helps a lot, yeah.
There's so many competing interests right now with the budget. I don't mean to give up, but we're not giving up.
Yeah, yeah.
I think we got a shot, but it's gonna be a lot of heavy lifting.
Yeah.
There's communities out there that right now that have obviously they have needs, but they haven't even organized to the degree to be able to receive the need. And that's why we try to stay on top of it all the way up to when that's, and that you can, say there's 100 needs. We take leaps in 20 and 30 mark. They may fall,
Oh, right, yeah.
So, and you know, like Clarksburg is one of them. So we're going to be competing right against Clarksburg and other communities that we're very familiar with when it comes to moving up the ladder.
The other thing, our goal in this with fair access is to make it as easy as possible.
What is that?
Yeah, that's the hidden mic somewhere. But to make it easy as possible for the those who grant the rewards to say yes.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yep.
So, and we will say to this, I don't want to steal any more thunder, but now there are citizen groups
Yeah.
that are modeling fair access that have sprung up in Clarksburg and Damascus.
Yeah.
So they're after the secret sauce.
Full flattery.
As long as we don't have link.
Yep, we'll
Jim
take
Brown's
it.
got the franchise for you.
That's right. Franchise, after we get all of our projects.
$100,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. How much is the bubble again? All right, sorry, Wade, go ahead. Anything else? Niles, that's it?
Yes.
Was that screeching sound, does that mean to stop?
No, I don't know what that was. Aliens.
I'll look into it tomorrow. Okay.
So,
Yeah.
PFAS.
Yeah.
Next meeting, we will have a presentation on treating the other 6 wells that do have some very low levels of PFAS in them, but they are over the 4 parts per trillion. We have till 2029 to have a treatment thing in place, but we're really challenged because some of the well sites we have are small, and so we're going to be combining well sites, and that means running a pipe maybe from well 5, which is located right on Elgin Road, down to where the Brightwell Crossing pump house is, and tying it in there, making a treatment center there.
You're in the
So,
process of coming up with a plan for how to do this.
yes, and so we're going to present that to you guys. And I'm doing that just, the same with the stormwater stuff, is to get this stuff in front of you, so when we get to the budget time, you kind of know what these projects are going on, and we don't have to belabor the issue at that time, so. So you're going to hear about that. It's going to be pretty involved, and, it's going to be in the budget. We're not going to be able to fund it this year.
Why am I laughing? What do you say? What are you leading us up to?
Nothing.
That's not true.
Save it for the 18th.
Save it for later. That's
Which is when our next meeting date is, the 18th, because on the 4th, this meeting room is going to be set up for the election on the 5th, and so we always cancel that meeting.
Oh, so just one meeting in November.
That's it. That's it. And
Exactly.
That's all it is.
also, finally, after 6 months, we've received our permit from the county for the stormwater for the skate park, so we can finally do the 5,000 square foot addition. And so that, yes, finally. So that's going to start, actually, this week, they're going to start doing the stormwater silt fencing and all that kind of stuff. And then the
Awesome.
contractor should come in next week to actually do the skate park. And we did receive a $180,000 grant from Community Park and Planning to fund this project, so that's another neat one, so.
That's separate from the potential climbing one, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
And I read that the PFAS detection was at a 4 parts per trillion.
That's
But
the
I don't
maximum
remember
contaminant
what
level.
the EPA cutoff was.
That is the
That
EPA
is.
level.
Okay.
4 parts per
So
trillion,
we-
over that is in violation of that. So 4 parts per trillion or lower is what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Really, you're trying to do 0, but
Zero,
that's
yeah.
the
Oh,
idea.
then what was the reading on the wells that you tested recently?
So these are like 6, 5.5. Well 4 and 14 are a little bit elevated, and so that's going to be a treatment site there, but they've never been brought online. They've been just sitting there since they've been brand new.
So
And it
even
was
if it's-
about 24 parts per trillion.
So even if it's 4.1, which would be very low on the scale, we still have to remediate that, yes?
Do.
Okay.
But potentially remediated through blending, or maybe not have to have.
They said no, blending's not going to be an answer. MDE
Really?
said that. Yeah.
So you're talking about that, then what's the reason
Are
behind
you
that?
blending it with a much lower one?
Yes.
Well, that doesn't make
Like
sense.
diluting it?
Yes.
It is, the dilution, exactly.
The
instead of
solution to
just
pollution is dilution.
That's what they said way back then, and they polluted the earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we're just gonna have to wait till the presentation next month.
Sounds good. What else you
That's,
got?
That is it.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
I second his motion.
This will be my last adjourning motion.
Aren't you gonna be here?
You have a motion and
We
a
got to vote
second.
now.
we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor of adjournment, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? None? We are adjourned. Thank you for that.
Okay, 2 other good words other than schmoozing.
Yep, I'm gonna.